All right, class. Welcome back to English 1301 as we continue our journey dealing with the profile essay. Now, the last time we left off, class, we had talked about A Surgeon's War on Breast Cancer by Molly O'Neill as an example of a profile essay. Molly O'Neill did, class, what you're going to do for me, and that is you're going to write a profile. Now, are we there yet? No. Do we have plenty of time to work on this? Yes. And then I gave you some homework for you to start thinking about to make a list of what you think would make a good profile. And I asked you to bring that list today for us so we can have that. Okay. So, what I'm going to do today is by the time we leave today, my lecture class, what I'm going to want you to do is be thinking about what, once again, or who you could profile for your essay. And then we'll keep taking it one step at a time. I'll have some homework at the end of class today, and we will talk about where we are in regards to the syllabus. But basically, by the end of today, I want you to have an idea of who would you want to profile for your profile. Okay, who would you want to meet up with? Who would you want to interview? Class, you could do this over Zoom. You could do it in person, socially distanced. We'll talk about those things. We're not there yet. So, class, let's step back for a minute. I'm finishing up the portfolios, grading those. Those will be coming back. Remember what I told you. I'm teaching 4 classes of English 1301. And class, once again, for classes 11850 and 12176, those essays were turned in on the 18th. So tomorrow is exactly 2 weeks from the date that they were turned in, and those are going to come back to you between tomorrow and Saturday. I've graded those. I've read some really good work, class. And then remember that, class, if some of you need to make adjustments to your portfolios, I, once again, certainly wouldn't fail them now. But if you needed to make an adjustment, you'll be able to do that. Say, for example, class, that your portfolio was missing a rough draft. When you receive my note back, I may say something like, "Where was your rough draft?" And you may say something like, "Mr. Welsh, I didn't turn one in," or "Mr. Welsh, I forgot one. So let me turn in the rough draft so I can have that, and then I can continue with portfolio." Or say, for example, some students told me, "Oh, Mr. Welsh, I'm going to turn in the certification, the confirmation from the Writing Center," and then I never received it. So, class, I'm not asking a lot in these portfolios. What I need is a first draft, I need a second draft, and I need confirmation that you went to the Writing Center. If we have all 3 of those, and then once again that it was in the right format, I graded those essays, and they'll be coming back to you. Some of you will have to make some adjustments. Some essays, the format was in such a faulty format, rather than just say, you messed up the format, I'm here to help you. I've shown you the format. I'll let you fix the format. You make those minor changes, get it back to me. I'll grade the portfolio, no harm, no foul, provided that, once again, you got it in on time. When you turn in your essay, everything lets me know the date and the time that you turned it in. So remember, class, for the rest of the semester, as for now, when you have a portfolio due, it's important that you get it in on time. Will I read portfolios that are late? Yes. But the consequences are heavy. I've always used this. So, say you had an essay due on a Tuesday and you turn it in on a Wednesday, I will grade that essay, But when I grade it, once again, it's going to start off as a B. Say you turn it in that Thursday, that's 2 days late. It's going to start off as a C. Say you turn it in that Friday, 3 days late, it's going to start off as a D. 4 days late, it's an F class, and I do count the weekend. I've used that late policy for 20 years, and it's always worked and always served me well and the students well. So I have a list of that. So class, once again, class 11850 and 12176, you'll be receiving those back Friday and Saturday, and then the other two classes that are on a slightly different schedule, 12175 and 11816, expect those portfolios back, or the evaluation of those portfolios, Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. Very good. So that takes care of that. Now, let's look at some due dates, class, in regards to these portfolios. So you can make sure with this profile, you can have plenty of time to get to the writing center and have these peer reviewed. We're not there yet, but we will be coming up. So class, once again, the course policies and calendar for class 12175 and 11816. Let's do the other class first. 11850 and 12176. Those are the different section numbers I have. Class, if we look to our course policies and calendar, and we're adjusting some of these items, because we're teaching it online this semester, we'll see that, class, your essay is going to be due on the 14th. Okay? So strategize your time. On the 14th, 10:14, it says you'll hand in the finished draft of your writing profiles essay. And once again, class, I'll tell you what you'll need. But once again, what you're going to need for that essay will be that proper formatting that, once again, you have in your handouts. You can go back to again and look over. You have that in Blackboard. You'll have a first draft of the essay. You'll have the final draft of the essay. And then you will have the confirmation that you worked with the Writing Center. Class, I've seen a lot of improvement. The Writing Center has helped a lot of people. Okay, that's why, since this is a pandemic, that is why I'm sending you there to get help. Okay, now, but remember this. The Writing Center cannot do everything for you. This is what happens on occasion. Sometimes a student will go, well, I went to the Writing Center, Mr. Welsh, and my essay was still an F or a D. Okay, on occasion that happens. Class, the Writing Center can't write the paper for you. The Writing Center can't completely give you the English language if you're lacking in those skills. They'll point out errors. They'll help you. They do a great job, but they're not there to completely edit your paper for you and correct every mistake. That's why on occasion what will happen is an essay will come back from the Writing Center and I'm marking it, and we'll have a class where I will, when those portfolios are all back to everyone, I will spend at least an hour talking about how I graded those, what all my comments mean on the essay, and once again, how you earned your grade. Okay. And so, and occasionally what will happen is a student will get very frustrated. Mr. Welsh, I still got an F. Then what you need to do, if that's the situation, ask yourself, where are you with the language? Okay. Happens on occasion. I've read a lot of good portfolios this semester, a lot of good final draft essays. Some essays, not a lot, but some, where the student perhaps does not have the skills to be an English 1301. Now, don't beat yourself up. When those essays come back, you'll see that, because I will have graded those. And sometimes a student, and I'll mark every error: run-on sentence, incomplete sentence, grammar problems. Once again, noun, verb, subject agreement. Once again, lack of ideas, spelling errors, run-on, incomplete sentence, grammar problems, tense switches. All these things, class, that should have been pretty much mastered by middle school. But, class, I don't judge anyone because I had my own issues too when I got to the community college. I've already told you that I had to work my ass off in the writing center. Okay? And they helped me come up and up and up and up. So if that's the situation, once again, always ask yourself, where am I in regards to the language? Do I have to go back to the basics? And there's always a certain amount of my students that have to go back to the basics. How basic? For some people, they don't even know what a complete sentence is. Okay? And then once again, I'm getting emails from students where I'm kind, but once again, when you send me an email, be careful what you send me. Because I'm looking at some emails from students and I'm like, this is illiterate. This student is sending me like it's sending me a text or something. Every sentence has to line up. Every sentence has to be grammatically correct. As best as you can, class. Once again. So remember, when you write to me, you're not sending me a text. Look over your work as careful as you can. Write me a good email. Because remember, it's like writing a letter. And remember, that's one of the things I'm here to help you with as a professor. All right, this is intense. Someday you're going to leave me. You're going to go on. My students, like I mentioned before, they go on to universities all over the country. We don't want someone asking you, oh, you went to El Paso Community College, then why can't you write? Or why don't you know basic grammar? You have to get out of my class, out of English 1301. Occasionally a student will say, well, Mr. Wells, I had a teacher in high school who never marked any of my papers. That's not my fault, okay? That's not my fault. I can't blame you. I can't control anything that happened in high school. I can't control middle school. I can only deal with what's happened in college. Sometimes a student will say, Mr. Wells, I'm going to take an English professor that won't mark any of my papers and just give me grades. I always tell them, do that, okay? I can only do what I do and how I've been doing it for decades as an English professor to help my students, okay? I could go through all the essays and just put A's on them and give them back to you, and then you won't know what level you're writing at, which some professors do. I tell a student, go find that professor. Go find someone if you want that isn't going to help you. I'm going to help you and mark errors. And make sure that you have portfolios together in the correct format so I can grade them and give you the highest possible grade. And like I said, I've read some good memoirs, class. Very surprising in the midst of a pandemic. And then some, maybe not so good. But that's all right. Wherever you are, where are you going to go from there? So, class, now, the due date, 10/14, 2 weeks from now. You have 2 weeks to work on this essay for sections A11, A11850 and 12176. On the 14th, it's going to be due 2 weeks. Once again, it's plenty of time. This is 700 to 1,000 word essay. You're going to need to interview someone during that time. You're going to need to write a draft. You're going to need to go back and look at these essays and see how profiles are written. I'm here to help you with that. We already discussed A Surgeon's War on Breast Cancer. Go back and read it. Again, for its format. In profile writing, they use a lot of quotations because you're letting the person you interview's words carry it. All right? Now, due date, sections 12175 and 11816. The due date for you I got it right here, class. The 20th. Okay? A few days later. So for you, it's going to be the 20th of October. The 14th, That first group of classes, the 20th for the second. All right. Plenty of time. But once again, as we know, time goes by quick. So start thinking about what you're going to do. And at the end of class, I'll help you today with that. Class, also note that today I sent you a memo telling about tomorrow we're going to have a live session. So any questions you have, anything you want to talk to me about, tomorrow from 1 to 2:15, we're going to go live. Ask me anything. We had a session last Friday. It was fantastic. All right. It was really great. Answered questions. We had a few laughs. Got to know some students. You know, I'm here. You ask me any question you want. I'm here to help. That's what we did last Friday for an hour and 15 minutes. We're going to do it tomorrow too. All right. I had a student write me last night, say, Mr. Welsh, I haven't turned in any work. I'm completely lost. Can I call you tomorrow? I'm very shy and be the last person to talk. I said, yes. Class, my recommendation is the same to her that it is to anybody in that situation. Drop the class. All right? She can't pass it. There's no way. I've been doing this for years. She has set herself up for failure. Drop the class. That's what I told her. Okay, and then it'll be her situation to figure out whether she will or not. I can't control that. But at the end of the semester, her grades will come up. Once again, already she has a 0 portfolio. She's already not done any of the work for the profile essay. She's lost. Drop the class. Once again, take it again. I'd suggest for her, take it when the pandemic is over. Take it when we get back to the classrooms, or try again next semester, because these are hard times and I'm not judging her. I'm here to help her, as I want to help anyone. But when you haven't done any work and you're lost, drop the class. There's no way she's going to pass it. Okay? I've been doing this for years. So by telling her that, she can drop the class, and then she can dedicate more time to her remaining classes. All right, it's just a suggestion. I've been doing this for a lot of years. If I wouldn't even come to a professor and tell him in the old days that I was that far behind. I'd drop the class and get out of it, because there's no way she's going to pass it. So don't beat yourself up, class. If that is your situation, get out of it, because this is hard. It's hard doing these online classes. Can you do it? Yes. Did I have students last semester as I finish off last? A lot of students passed, a lot didn't. Okay? It's just the facts. It's hard. Ask yourself, for some students, now is not the time maybe to be in this class due to this pandemic and this crisis. All right? A lot of students are going to pass. A lot of students are doing the work. If you're not doing the work, drop the class. Get out of it, class. And then that way, I'm helping you. All right? Being kind. I could lie to you and say, like, Mija or Mijo, you'll get caught up. It's not going to happen. You're already too lost. Class. So tomorrow, come ask me any questions that you have tomorrow. I'll be live. Now, very good. So, we talked about the due dates. Class, let's do this. Last time we dealt with that great essay, A Surgeon's War on Cancer, and I started talking about the aspects of the profile essay. Now, let's take up this second one that you had. This is Betsy Buffo's interview with an artist, okay? So, Betsy Buffo did what you're going to do. And you might as well, I'm looking around, where the hell are my journals? They're here somewhere. I go grab one in a minute. Anyway, I always got a bunch of journals around. I think I took them this morning in another room because I was actually working on them. And I had some notes for this class in them, but we're in good shape. So, Betsy Buffo did what you did. You start taking notes right now what you're going to need to do. Class, you're going to need to interview someone. Okay? And once again, a couple of things. No family member. But you could do a friend of a family member. We're going to give you examples of those today. Class, no boyfriend or girlfriend. because you already know too much about them. And I got in some hot water years ago when I let a young woman interview her boyfriend. Her boyfriend was really boring and he had nothing to say, but she wanted to interview him anyways. And she thought he was interesting, but he wasn't. She wrote me this essay, and then they got in this huge fight, and she had to drop. It was crazy, class. No boyfriends or girlfriends for the profile, no family members. But there's a lot of possibilities you can do, such as Betsy Buffo. Betsy Buffo, the English 1301 student, did what you're going to do. And what are you going to do, class? You are going to sit down with someone and interview them for 1 hour. All right? Or I'm going to help you with this. You are going to write out ahead of time 10 questions, okay, in your notes. Let's see if we can see the ink kind of. It's kind of interesting. See that, class? You don't have to have a pen like this, but let's watch the ink. It's a Twisby 580 diamond fountain pen. No big deal. But you will write out 10 questions ahead of time. And you won't become a slave to those questions. You have them a sheet of paper typed out next to you. And then all it's going to take, class, is 1 hour for you to interview your person. And as they're giving you the answers, what are you doing? You got a notebook out, you have a clean piece of paper. While they're answering those questions, you're like this. Notes, 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 notes. Remember last time we talked about notes? We talked several times about classes about you taking notes in college, all right? Now, when someone's talking to you and you're interviewing them, you have to take notes because you have to get all the information down. And then once again, this will be the... See what happened to that ink? There it goes. There it goes. Get it back up. There it is. There it is. There it is. Class. You will once again be taking the notes, and capturing it. Because from those notes, you will write your profile. From those notes, you will write your profile. Okay? That is what Betsy Buffo did. Betsy Buffo was an English 1301 student, and she had to write a profile, and she decided to interview a young man, a young artist, by the name of Derek Washington. And she calls this interview with an artist. So this is a short profile, class. Is it perfect? No. 700 words to 1,000 words? Yes. Is it very good? Yes. It flows. It's tight. The grammar's good. The sentence structure is good. It's not perfect because she's missing some things, but it's very good. So class, study this because she did exactly what she's going to do. So let's look at some of these questions, class. One of the questions says, what is the main point of this essay? You know, this essay is simply written. Good writing is simple writing. I think the point of this essay, class, is to give us a profile of an artist. Give us a profile of a young man who is struggling. Is he interesting? Yes, I find him interesting. Did she do a good job? Yes. Did she give us plenty of details? Yes. Could there be more? Yes. But she had a lot of freedom with this. So the point, give us, once again, a profile of a young artist. Man of colors, they say, an African-American man, a black man, young man, is doing his thing, class. He's painting, trying to come up in the art world. Tough world, class. If you're going to paint, you're going to paint. In fact, there's a painting right in back of me there by the local artist, Bill Rackesy. Okay, he painted. He painted. He's dead now. Died a few years ago. 6 years ago, but Bill Rackesy painted. He's one of the great painters of the borderland. And I became friends with him. And I got a lot of his paintings. And we did a small book together. And I wrote an essay about his work that appeared in Paris, France. Okay? In a jazz art magazine in Paris that I wrote about Bill Rackesy's work. There's a beautiful painting in back of me. Painting of New Mexico. Well, I could get the camera up there, but I'm not going to. Anyway, take it for me. It's a good painting. There's another one. Let's see. Damn it. There's another one right over there at the... if I can shut this door. Yes. There's another... I don't know what the hell's going on. That's a painting, too, of his. Kind of hard to see because it's a watercolor, but it's a ghost town in New Mexico painting. Class, the bottom line is he painted. So a painter's going to paint. He painted every day for, 50 years. At least, every day. Derek Washington, this young black man, is painting too. Painter's going to paint, rapper's going to rap, writer's going to write, poet's going to write poetry. Okay. Musicians are going to sing and play. All right? So, class, the main point. To show us, she sat down with Derek Washington. She had questions only for 1 hour, but you have to spend an hour with someone in the process of the interview. She interviewed him. She took notes, class, notes, as Derek Washington was talking, and she captured, once again, this essence of what this young man is doing. Summarize what you think the artist's words reveal about his values, his goals, and outlook on life. So, the artist's words carry the essay. The artist's words carry the essay. And once again, we see that he's kind of optimistic but a bit cynical about life. He knows it's going to be a hard road. But there's some optimism too, and he's got the fire, class. He's got the fire to continue. The passion to continue. Number 5, what specific details of his appearance and his gestures, and this is on the final page with the questions, class, on page 58. What specific details of his appearance and his gestures help you understand the artist? Does Buffo provide sufficient detail to characterize Washington in detail? Yeah, enough, I believe. She talks about him strangling the coffee cup detail. She talks about him tapping. Once again, he's very nervous, very high-strung, very wiry, strangling the coffee cup. He's intense. And by giving us some details, she proves that, class. And then it talks about, class, if you were Betsy Buffalo's peer editor, what suggestions would you give to strengthen this essay? This is a very good essay. She may be under a time constraint. I would want a little more background information on him. I'd like to know. I know that he's pissed. It says he's a pissed black man. A lot of people pissed nowadays. I've known a lot of white people that are pissed. I've known black people that are pissed. I've known Mexican people that are pissed. I want to know why he's pissed. We get kind of some of the details, but did he get his ass kicked growing up? Where did he grow up? Some of the things like that. I had a student last semester said, Mr. Walsh, I'd like a little more detail too about what the paintings look like, specifics. So that's all good. So class, very good. Save this. Betsy Buffalo's interview with an artist. This is what you're going to do for me. We didn't read this just for the hell of it. We read it because it was a good profile written by an English 1301 student. Is perfect? No. Is it very good? Yes. Go back and look at the way she structures it. She drops us in. I'll give you more in another class about that. Molly O'Neill. Tons of details on a surgeon's war and breast cancer. A lot of quotes from Dr. Susan M. Love that carries the essay. Background information, quotes. Insights, background information, quotes. And she lets it roll from there. Very good, class. So, now, here's one of the things, class, I want you to do. Let me give you your homework. over the weekend, and then I'm going to illuminate these things. Over the weekend, I want you to come up with the two possibilities for who would you profile. Now, in the end, you'll only do one, but it's always good to have a second one as a backup plan on who you want to do. Okay, now, can't be anyone dead. I had a student one time say, Mr. Welsh, I want to do Kurt Cobain of Nirvana. This is a few years ago. I said, Kurt Cobain is dead. He said, I did my essay on him anyways. I said, you can't interview a dead man. It has to be someone alive that you can sit down and talk to. But this student wasn't in class, so he missed all that. And I explained to him that you can't do a dead person, it's got to be a live person. But, that student wasn't into my class. This was an in-class thing. He used to skateboard to class every day and skateboard in at the community college. I was like, cool. I got no problems with skateboarding. I like skateboarding. I used to do it myself, old school style, back in the day in Los Angeles. I like skateboarding. But when I told him about that his essay was faulty because I had spent all this time when he wasn't in class paying attention to my lectures, that he missed all this material, and I failed his Kurt Cobain essay. He skateboarded out of my class and never came back. Now, did I judge that? No. Did I find some humor in it? Yes. Because class, once again, I can't judge him. He wasn't ready for English 1301. He didn't want to do the work. Does that mean he may not someday? Someday he may be ready. Someday he may not. It's a strange world, class. It's a strange world. He wasn't ready. Would I judge him? No. Because all I'd have to think about where I was at his age. The reason why I wasn't in college, I wasn't ready for it. I'd have been skateboarding in and out of class too. So I never judge any student class that isn't ready or doesn't want to do the work, all right? Because how could I? It would be me like a hypocrite. Then some students say, well, Mr. Welsh, what were you doing at 18 or 19? I wasn't in college because I wasn't ready. But when I got to college at the age of 23, I was ready to do the work, all right? So maybe someday he will, maybe not. I don't know. But I wasn't coming down hard on him. He left the class fine with me. Wasn't ready to do the work. No matter what I did or said, he wouldn't be ready. I've seen students like that. Maybe a year later, he's ready. I've seen students not have the fire and then get the fire. I've had students tell me, Mr. Welsh, I said, what's up? Last year I wasn't into it. I said, I know. I want to take you again as a professor. I said, cool, all right. What are you going to do different this time? This time, Mr. Welsh, I'm going to be all over it. I said, all right, I'll help you. But if you got the fire now, let's get you through English 1301. However, you're going to have to do the work. I've had students complete turnaround in their lives and want it. Excellent. I can't give them that. It's got to come from inside. I said, you know what? If you're burning and you want to do this class and you want to follow the instructions, I'm here to help. I'll do anything in my power to get you through it. Follow the directions. Do what I'm asking you to do. Get your work in on time. I'll grade the essays. Let's get you through it. Class. So, seen that happen. I want to take you again for a professor. I said, come on, let's do it. Let's hit it. Let's hit it and quit it. Let's get you through English 1301. I'm not going to be any easier. Got to keep my standards up. Let's get you through it, class. Now, so, for homework, you are going to be thinking about a couple people that you could possibly interview. Now, what I want to do, class, is I've got this list I've used over the years, and this is a list I have of possibilities for what would make a good, once again, profile. So you could sit down with any of these people I'm going to give you, interview them for a half hour, online, offline, in person. Make sure you keep yourself safe, and then take all the notes. We'll talk about this later. You have all these notes. You have to analyze, synthesize them, and then you write class a profile essay. What would make a good profile, a subject for a profile class? Ask yourself this. Anyone with an interesting job, anyone with an interesting job you could interview for a profile. What's an interesting job, Mr. Welsh? Let me give you some examples. A beekeeper. Someone who grows honey. Well, it'd be a good question to ask a beekeeper if you sat down with them. Have you ever been stung? It'd get the conversation going. How'd your family get into this business? Usually it's generational. Do you ever dream of bees? What do you see yourself doing in 5 years? Where did you go to school? Did you go to college? Are you married? Are you single? How many are in your family? What's your relationship to the language that you speak? The English language, maybe the Spanish language. How much money is it profitable being in the bee business? I just gave you about 7 questions to get the interview going. Beekeepers talking about class. How about a classic car restore? El Paso is a great place for old cars because we're not Detroit. We're not Chicago. We're not Indiana. We're not the whole state of Illinois. We're not Ohio. Class. Those are good places. Those are solid American places. But those places, we're not Buffalo, New York. We're not Syracuse, New York. We're not Connecticut. We're not Rhode Island. We're not Vermont. Those places, class, cars rust because of snow and because of the salt. If any of you lived in a cold place, gets up and it rusts the car out. El Paso's a good place for cars. So is California, where I grew up, especially Southern California, because it's a mild desert. So, could you interview a classic car restorer or a mechanic? Make a great, once again, profile. Sit down and ask them, how long you've been in it? Is it profitable? Do you enjoy it? What's the best car you've ever worked on? What's the longest project you ever worked on? What's the most frustrating aspect of being a car restorer? What's the toughest engine you've ever worked on? How do you deal with transmissions? Class. All questions you could ask a classic car restorer. Class, you could do an interview with a detective. Got a lot of layers of, a lot of my students sometimes say, Mr. Welsh, I want to go into criminal justice. What do you think about that? I said, I think it's great, Border Patrol. El Paso Police Department, El Paso Sheriff, Detective, DPS, Texas Ranger, Texas Department of Public Safety, officers. Sit down with one, ask them about how tough the job is. What's the best aspect of the job? What's the worst day they've ever had in a job? What's the best day they ever had? What's most satisfying about the job? What's most frustrating about the job? Where did they go to school? It's all questions, class, I've just given you. You could ask a detective, a cop, a sheriff's officer, a Texas Ranger, class, or maybe you could even interview like a federale in Juarez, or one of the Juarez cops, class. Or even someone like, maybe a security officer, class. Interesting job. You could do a Border Patrol agent write a profile for me of one for your essay. How about an auctioneer? Someone that deals in public auctions. 39, 49, 59, 68. So, Bessie, the sheep from Fabens, Texas. Sheep goes out in an auction. Class, you could interview a priest. All right. High calling, class. As a young man, as a young man, I thought I was going to become a priest. Okay, got priests in the families. Big Irish Catholic thing. It never happened, but I still am fascinated by the world of the spirit. Do you have to interview a priest? No. Could you? Yes. Or how about a nun? Or how about a minister? Or how about a Pentecostal minister? Anybody whose class been touched by what they believe is Jesus or the Lord. Maybe a Hindu guru, or maybe a Buddhist, someone who practiced Buddhism, or maybe class a Native American shaman. All fascinating interviews, class. All over, or any faith. Maybe a Jewish rabbi, class. Fascinating. Fascinating. Class, how about a minister? How about a panhandler? If someone's on the street and they're homeless, could you interview them? Yes, be careful. How about class, a mariachi musician? Sit down with mariachi or El Mariachi. I've always been fascinated by mariachi. I dig them. I grew up with them in LA, in East LA. They still got Mariachi Plaza. I'd be surrounded by them in LA, but not as much as El Paso, okay? Ask a mariachi musician, what's the wildest gig you've ever been to? What's the strangest gig you've ever done? What's the most money you've ever done? What is the most scared you've ever been as a mariachi? How often do you practice? What does the music mean to you? What does the culture in Espanol, la cultura, the culture, what does it mean to you? Mariachi. What's the biggest high you've ever had from being a mariachi? Class. Get that mariachi talking for an hour. Write me in a profile. Class, how about a teacher? All right? Maybe you could Zoom call a teacher from high school that was particularly important to you, or maybe someone from middle school. I hope you all have had a good teacher. Go back and interview them. Talk to them. Maybe a coach. You know, I just read a pretty good memoir the other night of a student that wrote me about a coach he had. It's a good essay. I think it had just a few problems. I'm trying to clean the student up with run-on sentences, if I remember correctly. I won't give the student's name. But I remembered the essay, and the student can write. You got to tame some of the sentence structures, helping him out with that. But he wrote in his memoir about it ended up being this playoff game in high school. And in his mind, he kept having that coach from middle school. And the coach would tell him, hey, fatty. Hey, fat boy. Fatty. Fat boy. Fatty. You're no good. Got to lose some weight. Got to get in shape. Coach demeaned him. You're too small. You're too fat for football. You know, my student in the end came up and really kicked ass in football in high school. You know, it's a good essay, good story. You know, for any of us, no matter what we take in life, what abuse, what are we going to do about it? We're all going to fail, class. We're all going to fail. We're all going to have setbacks. We're all going to have success. You know, what are we going to do about it? How are we going to keep going? Do we want to keep going? Yes, I always say keep going. Life's a mystery, right? As a writer, I've taken tons of rejection, yet I'm somewhere as a writer. I keep going. I enjoy it. Take a lot of rejection. I've had success on my own level. Stay in it. Still writing, class. Still dedicated to it. Class. Give me a profile of a teacher. How about a florist? Somebody who works with flowers. How about a boat restorer? Anyone prominent in a school, a judge, a newspaper reporter, a bishop. Class, how about a stripper? Or a male exotic dancer, a female exotic dancer? Got to ask them some tough questions. Kind of hard. I think most of the strip clubs are closed. Class, how about a bouncer? Or used to be a bouncer. How about a disc jockey? One time class, I had a student years ago say, Mr. Welsh, my Spanish is good. I said, cool. What do you want to do? Mr. Welsh, I want to go to Juarez. I was like, double cool. I always like essays about Juarez, especially good ones. I said, what do you want to do? He goes, I want to go to the radio station Orbita, the Orbit. 106.7 on the FM dial, old school. Radio station. I want to interview the DJ. Man, he wrote me a beautiful profile of a Friday night disc jockey at Orbita. Class, how about, you could also profile a place, but even if you profile a place, class, you need to still talk to a person in that place for an hour. But the focus could be on the place. What sort of place? Orphanage, tanning salon, spa, a gym, a pawn shop, roller skating rink, a car wash, an auto parts store. Go down to Alameda. Go to Chilo's radiator service. See if you can get Chilo. Class. Some of these, with the pandemic, the crisis we're in, you could do it over Zoom. All right? You do it in person, just be socially distanced with masks. Used car lot, used bookstore, a convent, a bakery, an auction house, a museum. All these things, class. Or you could also do activities if there were things going on, like a Frisbee tournament, a union organizing, somebody that's head of a local campaign. Class, we've got a big election coming up, man. It's coming up. How about that debate the other night, if you saw it? Wild, right? I don't know. I don't know about any of it. I want to keep hope alive. Got to keep hope alive in America. All right? So, those are a ton of possibilities I gave you for your profile. Now, here's your job from here on out. Pick 2 that you want this weekend. Your number 1 choice, your number 2 choice. If you want to talk to me tomorrow about them, during our live session, you can. You don't have to if you don't want to. Don't make any difference. Next Friday, when I have that session again, I can talk to you one-on-one. Okay? Sometime by next week, class, we want you to do, sometime into next week, you want to do that interview. Okay? You want to sit down and get it done. And then, class, you want to pay attention to the deadlines. All right? You're going to have to get this done. I've already told you your deadlines are always on your course policies and calendar. You're going to write a draft when the time's done. Got more to help you with next lecture. When the time's done. And then you want to give yourself enough time to get it to the writing center and work with them. When the time to turn these in, rough draft, final draft, confirmation from the writing center. Seeing the writing center help a lot of people. And then you'll get that in. So see if you can come up with 2 possibilities for me, class. 2 possibilities. And then remember that you got time for sections 12175 and 11816, those 2 different classes. Due date for the profile, the 20th. The 20th. Almost 3 weeks from now. 700 to 1,000 words, double spaced. Look at your time. Class. Sections 11850 and 12176. I've already given you that deadline. It's on here. 14th, 2 weeks from now. So keep going along. You're going to write, you're going to revise your draft. We're a little off schedule here, but we're getting on it. Just take your time. Where it talks about your writing groups here and meeting with your writing groups, that would be class. If we were in an old school class, I can't have you meet with your groups because this is an online class. So the group that you're going to work with are the tutors in the writing center. So with that said, class, listen, I hope you have a great weekend and good luck with your work. Be good to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Take it one day at a time. Have a nice weekend. I hope you and your family are well. Remember, tomorrow you have any questions, you can see me from 1 to 2:15. I've sent you that memo. We'll do that again next weekend. And keep thinking about who you want to profile. And we'll take this up again next week. All right, class. Once again, have a great weekend. And I'll leave you as they always do in Ireland. The Irish always tell people, good luck, 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 good luck. So I'm wishing you good luck, class. Okay, adios, my friends.